How's it going, guys? We're here with another episode of Stock versus Not. Today we're in the 2017 Nissan GT-R Nismo, which is the performance model of the GT-R we just previously drove, which is kind of crazy to say that there's a performance model of a performance car, but here we are. What does this Nismo get you? It is a 616 performance point car, 591 horsepower, 480 foot-pounds of torque. It has quite the curb weight at 3,800 pounds, sorry. And 54% in the front, 46% in the rear when it comes to the weight distribution. We are given sports mediums tires, which is a nice touch for a performance road car. And let's go ahead over to the ranking board and see what we're up against. Puts us into 700 performance point. Power-wise, we have 591, so what makes about 600? Okay, so we're actually slated between the C6 ZR1 and the Ford GT when it comes to power. However, one thing I want to consider is that we are on sports mediums tires and we do have all-wheel drive. So are we going to be able to get into this C7 ZR1 and 1LE package Corvettes, or Chevrolet, sorry. We shall see. Looks like we're looking at a mid-50s to be able to do something like that. And just for comparison, the non-Nismo version did a 57.988, and that came with sports hards tires. And when it came to the power, we were about looks like 30 horsepower down and about 100 pounds heavier. So I think we can do it. Let's see what we can do. If this is your first time watching Stock versus Not, basically what we're going to do is about 3 to 4 laps on the stock variant of the vehicle, and then we will go ahead and switch on a fully modified version that the game will allow us to do, and then we'll just take it from there. If you were wondering why there's a ghost, it's because I did a few practice laps. I don't know why it does that, but we're gonna keep moving here. I did a few practice laps and just wanted to get a feel for this car before we actually got in here, just to make sure that we don't do stuff like in that first turn, but obviously those practice laps did not do anything. So, how does this car feel once you get it composed? It does handle a lot better than the non-Nismo variant. You don't really feel the body weight as much. I believe the suspension might be a little firmer, and obviously you got a little more power as well too. So all of those equate into a better driving car. I would probably say possibly doing sports softs tires and a slight suspension tweak if you want to get a full experience out of a stock car, or a stockish car, I guess. It has plenty of power in my opinion, so I don't think we would need to do anything else outside of power adders to really enjoy this car. Now, Nismo is Nissan's in-house tuning company, or performance, I guess, performance line. Not really company, it's internal to Nissan. And I think it's really nice that Nissan kind of allows for it to be applied to most of their sports cars. So you have, you know, the Z and the GT-R right now, really. And even for a brief moment, I believe the Sentra came in a Nismo package, which gave you, it was like the turbo model, gave you like an appearance package, some other nice goodies as well too, which was nice to have that kind of a throwback to like the old the spec'd that we could get in the early 2000s. Which I think, now to think about it, that's a segment that Nissan is kind of missing out on right now. That smaller sedan performance category. You know, there's the Civics, there's the Golfs, and all that. Nissan made a decent Sentra. I believe they would. I think they could make it happen. Ditch that awful CVT transmission and put a good, manual gearbox in it, decent engine that doesn't burn oil after 100,000 miles, and yeah, they can make it happen. I mean, look, they had such a great success with the GT-R and the Z. Well, I don't get why they can't do it with any other car. Alright, let's see what we got here. 55.966. let's just do one more lap here. Looks like we might have an optimal that can get us a little bit lower. Let's turn around this last turn here. That first turn is definitely tricky if you don't get that line right coming out. Can't do the S's here. Yeah, this car is definitely a very composed machine once you kind of figure out its little quirks when it comes to how to handle it. Handles a lot better than the regular GT-R, I keep saying regular, the non-Nismo GT-R. Handles a lot better. Those tires definitely do play a big factor in it. Still has a little bit of understeer though, so just keep that in mind if you were to drive it. 55.892. Optimal would have been a 55.703, so not a bad lap at all. I told you guys we're gunning for a mid-50s. So what does that mean for our leaderboard? That is the question. Looks like it split up the Chevys here, so yeah, kind of called it there. So the so beat out the ZL1 Camaro, and it is just a little shy of this ZR1 C7. So yeah, very interesting to see that, you know, a little bit heavier of a vehicle, and has a little, less power, all-wheel drive, just makes it a lot more nimble through Suzuka. So let's go ahead, swap cars here. And we have a 1700 horsepower Nismo GT-R. Yeah, it is, it's quite interesting how this one came to be. Let's hop into the car settings and show you what we got going on. As you can see, highlighted in yellow, we have the Chiron engine in this. So that's the same engine that we put in the C6, I believe, the ZR1 for that car. So that puts you at 1796 horsepower, 1400 foot-pound of torque. Even with the weight savings, we're still, you know, over 3,000 pounds. I did add a little bit of ballast to get the weight distribution to 50-50, but that's what we got going on. It is an 847 performance point car now, still all-wheel drive. I do have the torque vectoring center diff set to 50-50, just to keep it as planted as possible, keep things, you know, somewhat equal. Here's our suspension settings here, and the aero if you are interested in that. We are doing the high RPM turbocharger. The super ultra high revving one is available as well too. That gets you to like 1800 horsepower. As always, this is Suzuka. It's not a long straightaway course. Even the high RPM might be considered a little overkill for it. I just really, like I said, I always put it on for horsepower number wise. So what are we looking at time-wise for this? So currently the fully modified non-Nismo version of the GT-R is our top of the leaderboard at 1100 horsepower, and it's a lot lighter at 47 seconds. Let's go over to 900 performance point leaderboard. So it's basically going against its non-Nismo self. Let's see how it works. I do not know how this is going to play out, to be honest with you guys. Hopefully I can keep this car under control. Actually, hold on. Before we do this, since this is the same engine as the C6, what's the horsepower difference? It's exactly the same. Look at that. 1796, but the Corvette was significantly lighter than the Nismo. And that cut a 48,140. So let's call it, if we can get into the 48s, if we can get a 47, even better. But this car should be right around a 48, I would think. Obviously, we do have racing soft tires because I'm not an animal, and I don't know how this thing will fare with anything less than that. The nice thing about all-wheel drive is that I can gun it out of that corner and not really worry about the back end kicking out. And I've learned my lesson in all the other cars. If you're hitting 200 miles an hour on that front straight of Suzuka, you're braking at like the 250 or 300 marker. And anything later is going to send you into the grandstands directly ahead of you. Yeah, this car with the tweaks, this thing handles a lot better than the stock car already. Even with 1700 horsepower, it doesn't feel too rowdy. A little bit of understeer there. But yeah, wow. This car feels great. That was a 48,180, so there we go, opening lap. My predictions are pretty spot on for today. Let's see if we can get anything lower than a 48. If we can just have another leaderboard leader here, that'll be pretty awesome. I think this car has it in it. Because I think it was like a 47, something in the 47s we have to beat, so we're basically there. Just have to get these sections connected right. Oh, we buried it. 46.657. This is a 200 board. Let's see. Yeah, see, with 200 board might just be a little too late for braking there. Let's get back on the, get off the slippery stuff first of all. All right. I think we beat the record anyway. So let's just finish up this third lap and we'll call this an early one. But yeah, there you have it, folks. Stock versus not. Either I'm getting better at driving these high horsepower cars, or I just need an all-wheel drive car that makes that much horsepower. But yeah, this is definitely like a Texas 2K type of vibe, you know. Yeah, I got a GT-R that makes just a smidge under 2,000 horsepower and breaks records. Actually, let's just do one more lap, see if I can solidify that 46. Get something. Get something lower here. And the purple. Alright, get through these S's here. That's right. Been a little vicious on the loud pedal, but sometimes it's full send or no send. Oh, we're back in the red. It's okay. Let's see how we finish up this last turn. It's gonna be to make it or break it. We're gonna come around the ghost here. Let's see what we can do. Alright, 46.522. So we shaved off a little bit there. So not bad at all. Not bad at all. And like I said, I believe we absolutely buried the current record for the highly modified ones. Yep, 47.658, and we did a 46.522, almost a whole second. Well, actually a little bit over a whole second when it comes to that. So there we have it, folks. Stock versus not. Nissan GT-R Nismo is now our leader. Anyways, I'm going to shut up and I'll catch you guys in the next one.